Ivy wants new shoes. The shoes cost $200. Ivy has $20. Ivy is sad. The bank says, use the card. The card is small and shiny. The card says, buy now, pay later. Ivy swipes. The shoes arrive. Life is good. Now Ivy owes the bank $200. The bank waits. Ivy has about 30 days to pay. If Ivy pays the full $200 before the 30 days are up, nothing happens. No problem. No growth. But if Ivy does not pay the full amount, a blob hatches. The blob is small. The blob waves. The blob says 20%. At first, the blob is not scary. It is quiet. It is patient. Ivy does not worry. Day 31 arrives. The blob eats. If $200 sits at 20% interest for a year, it becomes $240. The blob gets bigger. Ivy pays $20. The blob grows. Ivy pays $20 again. The blob grows again. Ivy pays the minimum. The blob smiles. Minimum accepted. Ivy swipes. The blob eats. Ivy pays the minimum. The blob grows. Swipe. Eat. Minimum. Grow. The blob does not rush. The blob does not complain. It just grows. This is how credit cards work. When Ivy swipes, the bank pays the store. The store is happy. Ivy now owes the bank. If Ivy pays in full before the due date, there is no interest. If Ivy carries a balance, the blob eats. That is the system. Why does Ivy use the card? Sometimes Ivy needs time. Maybe there is an emergency. Maybe there is an unexpected bill. The card is useful. The card also gives rewards, points, cashback, bonuses. The bank likes when Ivy swipes. The blob likes when Ivy swipes. The blob claps quietly. Now imagine Ivy carries a $1,000 balance at 20% interest. After 1 year, that $1,000 becomes $1,200 if it is not paid off. The blob is heavier. Ivy pays $50. Most of that payment goes toward interest. The balance moves slowly. The blob remains hungry. Paycheck lands. The blob eats first. Paycheck lands again. The blob eats first again. Bonus comes. The blob eats. Tax refund comes. The blob eats. The blob is always first. Before savings, before investing, before future plans, the blob first. Now Ivy looks at the statement. The balance is $5,000. The interest rate is 20%. Now we count. Year 1, 6,000. Year 2, 7,200. Year 3, 8,640. The blob is large now. The blob rents an apartment. Ivy still owes the original balance. Ivy whispers, wait. The blob replies, minimum accepted. Interest is not loud. Interest is steady. Each month, the blob adds a percentage to the new total, not the original total. The balance grows on the balance. That is compound interest. It starts small. Then it grows faster. The blob grows on itself. Minimum payments keep the account current. Minimum payments keep the blob alive. Minimum payments slow the problem, but they do not remove the problem. The blob prefers the minimum. The minimum is permission. There are also fees, late fees, annual fees, cash advance fees, small amounts. The blob adds them quietly. Small crumbs become a pile. The pile becomes more blob. Why does Ivy stay in the loop? Swiping feels good. The shoes arrive now. The trip happens now. The reward shows up now. The payment feels small. The consequences feel later. Later feels far away. The blob grows in the quiet. Now imagine Ivy carries $5,000 for 10 years and mostly pays the minimum. Thousands of dollars go to interest. More than the original purchase. 10 years is 120 months. That is 120 times the blob eats first. The blob before freedom. The blob before options. The blob before walking away money. If you like seeing money explained this way, subscribe. We have more systems to expose. The rule is simple. If Ivy carries a balance, the blob grows. If Ivy pays in full each month, the blob shrinks. No mystery, no drama, just math. So Ivy changes the plan. Ivy pays the full balance each month. The blob stays small. If Ivy cannot pay in full, Ivy waits before swiping. The blob stays hungry. Ivy focuses on paying down the balance quickly. Extra money goes to the blob. The blob shrinks faster. The interest slows. In the end, Ivy still has a card. The blob still exists. The blob is small again. The blob waves. The blob only grows when it is fed. Credit cards are tools. Blobs are consequences. Swipe carefully, or raise a blob.